Welcome to the More Than More podcast, where we discuss building meaningful, impactful businesses, careers, and lives through real estate. Okay, brah.
No, dude, can't start that way.
You knew that was coming.
I know. Hold on to it.
Well, we've had an interesting warm-up to our morning's podcast. So welcome, everybody, to me, Abby, and
Angela.
Angela. So, and we're picking up a conversation that we've started a couple weeks ago on mindset, really.
Yeah.
We dropped a piece that I think we called the
8
Mindset
mindsets
Shapes
to shape your
Reality.
reality.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I believe you guys covered it at the team meetings. Is that right?
A little bit.
Briefly?
Yes, briefly.
I don't know where you guys are at on this. The last 6 months of my life, I feel like mindset. Actually, I feel like I've had a revelation. I think I'm learning that what I thought mindset was isn't what mindset is.
Okay.
I don't know, I just thought it was like about positivity versus
Yeah.
like
Oh.
being in a good flow
Yeah,
state
yeah, yeah.
or not. I'm just recognizing the extent to which there's so much more to this. I feel almost silly. that
So
I've
much
taken-
more control or choice about
Sounds
it.
like you
I think.
are growing in your understanding and your mindset.
Well, I would say even so much as I am being incredibly intentional right now about my consumption.
Yeah, agreed.
That does it.
Politics, even like intellectual level politics. I'm not talking like watching CNN versus Facebook. I
Right.
mean, even high level discussions about geopolitics or the economy or whatever. I'm recognizing the extent to which that creates a flow in my mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus
does.
as I'm consuming content about leadership or about influencing
Communication,
people or
you're just-
communication,
yeah,
or it just opens up a fundamentally different side of me. And it all comes back to what we shared in that podcast from Tony Robbins, wherever focus goes, energy flows. It's like I can live two different realities on any given day in the exact same context.
Yep.
And it starts with how I prime myself, how I prime my mind. And
What you choose to consume.
Yeah.
yeah, so I think those 8 mindsets are massive. I think for anyone that listened to that or hasn't listened to it yet, and you're like, yeah, those are cool. I get it. I think I've been there. I promise you, they're more than what you might be thinking.
Yeah. I've been sharing that one with a couple people. I
People,
think
I
that's
mean,
just
we've
so
had a few
simple and
people
good.
come up to us and say, "Oh my gosh, I was
Yes.
just listening to it," which is kind of cool.
I love
people,
that.
People are like, yeah.
So we're going to continue the conversation, and I'll set the stage for this one quickly. The context for this was we were sharing a different idea at a team meeting. I think it was in Ames.
Oh, yeah.
It was the trust equation.
equation,
We were
yes.
talking about, for anyone that doesn't remember, trust is a function of credibility plus reliability plus intimacy divided by self-orientation. The higher your credibility, reliability, and intimacy are, the greater your trust quotient is.
Yeah.
And the higher your self-orientation is, the lower it is. And I remember sharing it, and it was like the third time I'd covered the content. And it was Brenda Peterson that piped up. And she had one of these Brenda Peterson moments. Love her.
Yeah.
Big sigh and like, oh my gosh. It was like, oh boy, how do I even begin to get better at this? Because I think the content led us to the point where the data showed that of all those things, credibility and reliability really mattered, and self-orientation mattered, but intimacy
Was the most, yeah.
was the most important
Yeah.
thing. And I think Brenda's insight was, wow, I've been leaning so much on credibility.
Credibility.
Other things, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which is
then-
easy to do in the industry, I think, as a real term. Like you want to lead with insight and knowledge.
In any sales space, we
Yeah.
think that what people are looking for is our professional
Expertise.
yeah. So I think she had this moment and said, oh my gosh, I got to focus more on intimacy now, and I've got to get
How do
better
I
at
do that?
this. And
Yeah.
and my response was super just off the cuff. I just shot from the hip, and I said, you know what? I think it really just comes down to 2 simple things, and I think that those 2 things are what I want to cover today. So
Yeah.
we've got a little handout for you guys called the 2 foundations of growth. And I think these 2 foundations are what my response to Brenda was in 30 seconds that day. But I spent days, weeks
Like thinking about
thinking
it after.
about it. And I just gave a bunch of thought to it. It just so happens that it correlates with our mindsets from the previous week. So I think, is that enough intro to just jump in?
Yeah, I think that's
that's
a great
great.
tee up. Yeah.
So let me just state the thesis for everybody. The answer to Brenda's question is the same answer to any question. It wasn't even a question, but it was a statement of
What do I
annoyance.
do now? Yeah.
Crap.
And
Crap.
now what?
Yeah.
I
But she
have
was the
more
brave
work to
one to
do.
say, like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't even how. I think it was like, oh my gosh, here I thought I knew how to do everything. And I just realized that there's a whole nother chapter of things that I have to now go figure out how to do.
Yeah.
And I think we'll circle back to that on our second point. So here's the thesis. There are two fundamentals really to all human growth and development and learning.
Yep.
And all growth sits on this foundation. And so the first is that you have to actually believe that you can. And the second is that you have to understand or embrace the process of growth and learning.
Yeah.
So I'm going to break those two independently. So here's the first one. You have to believe you can. This is that fixed and
Fixed
growth
versus
mindset
growth.
from a
From
week
the
ago.
mindsets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a saying that I heard a bunch, and it was, again, one of these sayings that I just thought it was a bumper sticker, so I ignored it. And
There's
And
a
I
lot
re-
of those coming back around for
I
you.
feel like I'm just growing up. It sucks to get to a point where you realize that all the stuff the old people told you before
actually
Actually
right.
was
True.
pretty, yeah,
Dang it.
pretty
Yeah.
right on, accurate.
If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
If you believe you can or you believe you can't,
That's what I was waiting for.
you're right. And I guess I just didn't understand the extent to which that's true. Maybe it would be helpful for you guys just to unpack what your understanding of fixed versus growth mindset was from the previous week's discussion. A fixed mindset is.
I think, I mean, it really is. I am what I am. I can't change it. My circumstances, my being is.
I think there's also a
there is no
disinterest
around.
in changing that.
Yes,
There's
I completely agree with that.
there's
It's a
a,
choice
but I'm
to
good
say.
with that. This is who I am.
Well, probably because of the first statement.
Yep.
I mean, if you think you can't change, then
Or you don't want
You're just like,
to change.
there is no work to be done here. So it's just is. Yeah.
so I am what I am. If someone's good at something, it's because they were born good at it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
their innate ability.
Natural talent. Yeah.
And therefore, if I fail at something, it's because I'm not good at that. And therefore, I need to avoid that thing because if I do it, I'm going to fail and failing's bad.
Yeah.
And then a growth mindset would be what?
I just think openness, curiosity, willing to learn, willing to try, willing to change and grow. I mean,
Knowing that you can,
Try
I
not
think
to
it
use
really
the
is a
word grow.
first decision to know that you can, to see that there is something better and not see it as a roadblock, but as I want to know how to do
lose
that.
to lose
Like,
defensiveness over
yeah.
and go, that could be better.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
Let's learn how to do that. I want to be better. I want to learn that thing.
Well, I think on both of those examples, Angela, you pointed to, I think, the first step, which is the belief that you can or can't. And then, Abby, you're almost touching more on the
Like your
willingness
attitude
and
or-
the
yeah.
attitude that results from that.
Yep.
But that takes me back to if you believe you can or if you believe you can't, you're right. And what that's really saying is your outcomes are going to work their way backwards to an initial belief set on what you think is true about yourself and your abilities and how growth works.
Yeah.
So, Carol Dweck's mindset, I encourage everyone to read. I probably mentioned it 2 weeks ago. It's not a super easy read, but it's not super challenging. But at the beginning of all growth, so I'm going back to Brenda Peterson's, oh my gosh, all this intimacy crap. Now I've got to go learn
Now
all
what?
this as well.
Yeah.
There's two sets of people in the room. And there's one group of people that go, oh, okay, well, no problem. Everything, like I've learned things before. I know how to
can
learn
do it
things.
again.
I'm not good at that today, but that's not a problem. And if I try and do that in my next presentation and I fail, here's the good news. I'll either do it and I'll win, or I'll do it and I'll
Learn how
Still
not
learn
to
fail,
do it.
but
to
I'll
learn. Yes.
So that's back to I'm either learning or I'm winning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that statement, I think, is that how you say it? I'm either winning or learning.
Winning or
I'm either succeeding or learning. I forget what
Yeah.
it is. That is the epitome of growth mindset. It's the notion that becoming is inherent to the journey. And so I hope I'm putting this together in a way that people understand. There's a new thing that you figured out you don't know how to do. And oh my gosh, I've got to go figure out the intimacy. This is a great example.
yeah.
Yeah.
Two people in the room. One goes, okay, this is like everything else I've learned. I'm on a journey of becoming. I can learn that. If I bump my shins a few times, that's okay. I'll learn how to do this because everything I've ever learned to do, I've I went through a journey of growth to get
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And there's another group of people in the room that go, wait, that's not my skill.
So I'm just
Wait,
going to
I'm not good at that.
I'm just going to be. I'm going to
Well, I
stay the static person.
We
that
like
I am
to
right now.
avoid feeling uncomfortable, right? So if you are fixed mindset, you're maybe trying to avoid that process of feeling scared or out of your element or embarrassed or, you know, what fear of
First
failure.
admitting that you don't
Where
know.
growth mindset, you're like, yeah, this might be awkward. This might be uncomfortable and this might be an interesting process, but that's okay. Good things are going to come out of it.
Yeah, and my
I'm
favorite
okay with being uncomfortable a little
My
bit.
favorite phrase of the way, like we talk about that and what you just said, was the journey of becoming, like realizing that there is no end. There's always more growth that you get to do. And I want to do.
But
right?
the focal point here is, do you believe that you can?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like stuff like that because it sounds like what I used to imagine self-help books were all about. They were all just about like beating your chest and saying, I can.
Yeah.
This is what I thought Tony Robbins conferences were all about. They're just about jumping up and down and like positivity. But I think it's so much more than that. At the foundations of every human is either the belief that they can become, you can be anything you want to be. You just can't be everything. Anything you give yourself to and commit the time and energy and effort to, you can figure out in time. Okay, if you're 5'3", you probably can't dunk. So within reason,
Right.
Did I just
Be
point
realistic.
at you?
Yeah. You did. Like, good thing I've never dreamed of that. Yeah.
But
It's very
within the
realistic.
bounds of physics.
Yes.
And so if there's someone out there doing something that's remarkable and amazing, you either look at them and go, oh, well, that's because of some privilege or some situation, or
Yes,
that's because,
their circumstance.
or you go, wait, I could do that if I gave energy and effort towards
It
that.
becomes a choice you make. It starts with the belief that you can or you can't, right? And then you have to, I mean, I probably should stop bringing up agency, but at some point you make the choice to try, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's point number one, is it begins with the belief you can. I think what's worth touching on here is just some points on shifting from a fixed to a growth mindset that I wrote down. I think, because I've had so many conversations. I had one of these just last night at dinner with my son and his girlfriend. It was super fun. But a few points here. So how do you shift from a fixed to a growth mindset? and let me back up. In our handout, we've actually included a really cool little resource that we put together. And it's
Can help
a
you
survey
self-realize, right?
to take. And if you take the survey, you answer each of the questions. They're just strongly agree versus strongly disagree across 20 different questions. I've done this. It looks like you did it.
I did it.
Yeah, of course we
and
did it.
you're just going to give yourself a score out of 60 points. And it's going to put you either in a strong fixed mindset, a fixed mindset with some growth ideas, growth mindset with some fixed ideas, or a strong growth mindset. 4 different tiers that you're going to land in. And it'll be very, very revealing, I think, if you take the time.
Yeah.
But let's get to
Abby's
that.
looking for my number.
Where'd you land?
What'd you get?
55.
Whoa.
Strong growth mindset.
What'd you get?
I think I'm in the mid-4. I was in the second to the top tier. So I'm in
Yeah.
the growth mindset with some fixed ideas.
Okay, that's where I landed too.
Yeah.
Whew.
No, there's some of the questions that I answered, and I'm like,
I started the ones that I was low on because I was like, okay, this is where I'm feeling fixed still.
well, some of
could
them
argue
almost
it.
feel unrealistically
Yes.
growth-oriented to me.
Yes.
Like, okay, wait, if you just like,
Well, and some of it
Think about
contradicts
it, you
what
can
we talk
levitate.
about with unique ability or whatever. I'm like, well,
okay, let me get back on
Anyway.
track though.
Yeah.
So if you take that and you find out where you are, I think the question that's important is to ask, well, how do you, well, first of all, if you believe that you can, then the next question is how. So if you can do anything else, then clearly you can also work towards having more of a growth mindset. So one is, I think we've got to observe our own thinking. And taking this test is step one in doing something like that.
Yeah.
Observe when things like that Brenda Peterson moment happen and you go, oh my gosh, here's a new thing that I don't know, or here's a new thing that I now need to do. Does your first instinct in your brain, is the first voice, well, I'm not good at that? Or, well, that's something other people can do well, but I can't? Or any of those sorts of statements or thoughts are the beginnings of fixed thinking, right?
Or that
A
sounds
growth
too hard.
mindset would see that and go, oh,
Interesting.
well, I'm not that, but I could become that. That's something I'd like to do. So I think observing your own thinking is the first one. The second is governing your language. And this is something I've been spending so much time on with my family. And I'm gonna throw the girlfriend under the bus.
she's not listening. It's fine.
This was the conversation last night at dinner. We were talking about reading books, and I just asked everyone at the table what they're currently learning.
Reading. Yeah.
And it was related to reading. And she said, the thing is, I don't finish things.
Okay.
I never finish things. I'm like, well, hold on.
There's a tape.
Let's just look at that statement. Yeah, look at that tape.
Why?
So we talked through this process. Well, why? Because you are what you repeatedly do. And so she's framed in her mind that I am someone that doesn't finish things. So first, I'd say observe your thinking on that. Second, I'd say, okay, well, hold on. You saying that is
a part of the
incredibly
problem.
powerful and dangerous.
Yeah.
So what I guided her towards is I said, well, listen, we're going to pick, first of all, the problem is reading lots of books is an impossible thing to accomplish. The only way to read lots of books is to
Read one book.
Read one book.
Start.
This
And
year. Yeah.
you can't read one book unless you first
Start.
pick a
Pick
book.
up a
Pick
book.
a book.
Pick a book.
Pick a
So
book
I
and
said,
start. Yeah.
I want you to pick a book. What's
Any
one
book.
book? And so she picked a book. It was The Creative Act. A beautiful book. Caden's read it 2 or 3 times just in the last week, actually. He reread it twice last week. And then I said, so what's the next step once you've picked a book? Is you start, and then you decide to finish that one.
I will finish this.
And then once you finish one, which is totally something within your control, you finish one book, you are now someone that has finished something. And you avoid at all costs saying things like, I don't finish things.
Yes.
Because what you're doing is reinforcing that idea about yourself. So 1, observe your thinking. 2, govern your language, because the power of those things that you say it's like if you're a child and you grow up in a household and every day your parents tell you how stupid you are, you're going to start to believe that you're
Yeah,
stupid.
absolutely.
No matter how smart you are. This
Yeah.
is a real thing.
Absolutely.
Well, you're that voice to yourself.
Yeah.
Every day you're saying, I don't finish things, and you're manifesting that truth in your life. So 1, observe your thinking. 2, govern your language. 3, focus on process, not outcomes. That exact same conversation about reading.
Yeah.
If you focus on being someone that reads lots of books, you're going to have a problem. Yeah. But if you
big
find
and
one,
daunting.
read one, and then figure out, because that was the next thing. We said, is it audio or physical?
Figure out a way that works for you.
And then when are you going to push play on this?
Yep.
And she said she's going to push play tomorrow on her drive to work.
Good.
And that's beginning.
Yeah.
So if you focus on the outcome, this is no different than lead generation. If you focus on how many sales you want, you're going to
Yes.
have a problem. If you do calls, notes, pop buys, you'll win.
Yep.
Number 4 is reframe failure. And what I mean by that is the definition of a fixed mindset is that, well, one of them, when you fail, you go, oh, I'm not good at that.
And that's the end. Yeah.
Well, that gives you excuse to
Permission
stop.
to, never try again.
Kind of your responses to the initial definitions are, I'm not motivated to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because I failed.
Didn't do it right one time.
And so when you reframe failure, it's very hard to do because I
Yeah.
don't play games personally. This is a weakness of mine.
That you can't win.
No, I don't. Why would I play a game that I can't win? That's stupid.
I admitted this in the Clifton Strengths training the other day, and
Well, you're a
'cause
high 3. You're an
competition in
achiever.
3, and Chad was like, "Oh, so you play da da da?" And I'm like, "No, because I won't win, so I won't do it."
This is probably my favorite one that I feel like through coaching and working with new agents that I constantly saying, did you ask? I mean, you don't get that listing. They chose somebody else. Did you ask why? Because then you can learn from that and be better. So this is my favorite one, is to reframe the failure as a failure and go, what can an opportunity to what can I do better to improve that the next time? So,
Yeah.
and I am totally guilty
Without
in my own
spiraling,
mindset
without taking it
sometimes of not
personally.
doing that. But yeah.
Well, it's a challenging thing that I do with everyone. I always get in trouble for this because I'm always saying, well, I get it. They're the bad guy. They screwed you over, all of that. But what's something you
Can
have done
control
better?
and that you can do better. Yeah.
That's a function of a growth mindset where you can look at the world and say all the things that you're a victim about. Or you can find the one thing that you could have done better and continue to compound in controlling your outcomes.
That's my favorite one.
All of these things, observe your thinking, govern your language, focus on process, not outcomes, reframe failure, are, bullet points under the umbrella of you're either succeeding or you're learning.
Yeah.
Step 0 to that, I think, is having this pointed out to you. So if you're listening to this podcast, step 0 is completed, right? Like this idea is introduced to you, but like the girlfriend, probably nobody had ever asked her, why are you telling, like you need to consume
hearing
something
that
to
tape
point this out to you,
point out
listen to a
loud.
podcast, read a book, have a trusted person say, hey, have you ever paused to ask why you define yourself that way? Because most of us will just float through life in our bubbles listening to
Your own
self-affirming
tapes.
things. Yes.
Yep.
Step 0 is like having it pointed out to you so
Yeah.
that the cognitive dissonance starts to kick in, right?
Yeah.
Well, so my challenge on this would be then go point it out to yourself. And I would say do that by taking that quiz.
Yeah.
And just observe, forget the score. It's like the Enneagram. No one cares what the actual answer is.
Self-discovery.
Discover through the process of answering the questions where you, in your tapes, clearly find yourself in a little more of a fixed mindset where I am what I am and this is, I'm either tall or short kind of thinking.
Yep.
And then start to observe your own language. And I think that's the beginning of a lot of progress, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two foundations to all growth. The first is the belief that you can. If you believe that you can't grow, you're going to stagnate. And why would you try?
You would fulfill that prophecy for yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe this, and I think I didn't believe this 20 years ago because that sounded a little hokey. I believe it with all my heart at this point.
Yeah. My score would have been much lower as a teenager. I will tell you that.
My score would have been a lot lower 2 years ago.
So here's the second part, and this is on the second page of the handout. It's something that I think a lot of people have heard, but I don't know how many people, well, my goal today would be hopefully that you hear it in a way that you recognize how this connects to everything
that you learn to do.
that you have and that you will. And so the second I just said is that you need to understand and embrace, and I picked those words intentionally, the journey of learning. So here's the idea here, and you guys have heard this a bunch,
I love this
I
one.
think.
It's good.
There's always been a process to learning. There's 4 stages of learning, and everything you've ever learnt, and I'm going to use driving a car as the ultimate metaphor.
Yep.
Everything you've ever learnt, but also crawling and walking, you went through this particular process. So everything starts in what we call unconscious competence. That's the first stage. Unconscious competence is where you don't know that you don't know something.
Yep. Just oblivious.
You're oblivious, and I would say that in the Brenda Peterson example that we're talking about, and I hope she doesn't mind us using her as an
It's too
example.
late now,
I
yeah.
didn't ask permission. Hey, Brenda, love you. And I think that she was
She would.
Genuine.
being very
Yeah.
vulnerable and authentic about.
Yeah, love it.
Oh my gosh, need to go work on this now. In that example, before that morning, it was like, no, credibility is what I need to focus on. And that's unconscious competence. She knows a ton of things, but she
Yes.
didn't know that thing.
Something new had to be revealed for you
Correct.
to understand that you didn't know that.
And so the phrase we use for this is you don't know what you don't know. And it's kind of a comfortable place to be honest, because
It's ignorance is bliss, right?
well, when you're 16, you know everything.
Oh,
And I know this. I have 2 boys. And when you know everything, it's kind of cool because you're confident, you're doing all the things you know, and slowly but surely you bump your shins and you go, wait, here's a whole nother thing that I didn't even know I didn't know. And what's the first feeling you have in your heart when you encounter this new thing?
oh no.
Oh.
Like, it's like,
no.
oh, there's something else there. Like there's something more.
And
Yeah.
if you have a fixed mindset at that moment, how do you process it?
Stop. There's nothing
block
more
it
to
out.
do.
Oh my gosh, another thing I'm dumb. Oh my gosh, another thing I don't know
Yeah.
how to do. If you have a growth mindset, what's the thought or the
Ooh,
feeling?
let's go find,
Yeah.
let's go figure it out.
And maybe a choice to go do that or a choice not to. It's not
Yeah.
like you have to become everything in life.
Yeah.
But
But you're not
certainly-
afraid of it. Your gut reaction is not fear.
So if the first step, not the first step, where all things start is I don't know what I don't know, then that, and we call it unconscious incompetence. I said it wrong the first time. It's unconscious incompetence.
Incompetence.
I'm not competent at this, and
don't
I
know.
don't,
I don't
know
even
it.
know. Yeah.
Then the next thing that happens is you become aware of something that you don't know. We call this conscious incompetence. And so now I'm aware that I'm incapable of something.
Super fun.
This is the tough place to be.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
This is where
And
the
so
discomfort
now it
happens.
would be, I don't know how to do that.
Yep.
And that is a sucky place to be because no one likes to not know something. No one likes to feel incompetent. And yes, the discomfort starts there. So let me finish and then go to the car driving.
Yeah.
The next is we move to conscious competence. I now know how to do something, but I have to take all of my frontal cortex and my energy and my focus and my
Effort.
attention towards it.
Yes.
And I call this the phase of, so it's I don't know what I don't know. I don't know how to do something. And then it's I suck at this. This is the I suck at this phase where you're a novice and it takes all
It's
your
hard.
energy to do it.
Okay.
And then the final one is unconscious competence. I know how to do it. I'm a natural at this. I would call this mastery.
I no longer have to think about it every time I do it.
So let's
Okay.
just play this with the car driving. Because it's
So concrete.
Do you guys remember your first getting behind the wheel?
Oh yeah.
I was really little, so yeah. I mean, I was driving very early
Maybe
on
you
in
should
my
tell
life.
the
Iowa
story.
thing.
No, I mean, grew up on a farm. I mean, a farm girl. Like, I mean,
Yeah, no.
so like you drove things early in life.
Mine was with my
I was like
grandfather.
15.
I mean, first my mom let me drive up the driveway. Because it was a stick shift. So I would she would pull up to the driveway and then I would like pull up to the garage. But then my grandfather was the one that taught me to drive, and it was in a VW Bug.
Yes.
That's awesome.
In South Africa. And oh my gosh. So you sit behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So unconscious incompetence is when you're in the back seat and you're 5. And you're looking at your mom or your dad driving, and they've got their hands on the wheel. And what you think driving is doing this with your hands. You move back and forth.
We all just did this. Yeah.
Everyone can see us.
You had no notion that there was a thing called a clutch.
Yeah.
You had-
Pedal
or pedals.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's unconscious competence. Conscious incompetence is where you sit behind the wheel for the first time and your grandfather's in the passenger seat.
Go. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
You're like,
Oh no.
and you realize, wait, there's 50 things here. I
This
had
car
no
feels
idea.
bigger. This
Complicated.
car feels bigger in the front seat than it did in the back seat. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that's conscious incompetence.
Yep.
Now, the first 10 times you learn to drive, you bump your shins. I remember
Slam
one,
the brakes.
I remember one time there was a yield sign, and he told me, don't roll through the yield sign, stop. And I was like, yeah.
No, it's a yield.
And I yielded, and I just misjudged the turn, and I turned way too wide into oncoming traffic, and he had to grab the wheel.
I did that on a red light once, turning right. My mom made me get out of the car and switch seats.
She's like, and we're done.
You're done. Yep.
So you're going to get some bruises in this phase, if not to your body, then to your ego. And then, because what you're in now is the conscious competence phase. So now it's the first time you're a teenager, you have your license,
Your
and you get to
school
pull,
permit.
yes, and you get to pull out of the driveway for the
By
first
yourself.
time by yourself.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And you're hyper aware. It takes all your attention. In fact, you don't turn the radio on that first
Yep,
time.
yep. I
Because
hope
you
not.
can't even handle the radio and
No.
driving.
All of the other inputs. Yeah.
But when you drove to work this morning, guaranteed you were chewing gum, you were
Drinking coffee, listening to podcasts, talking on the phone, all the
100%.
things.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's obviously
Everything but watching the road.
you're unconscious about your competence. And 90% of all the things that you know how to do today are in that phase.
Yes.
What people fail to understand is that the next new thing, whatever. So we take for granted all the things we know how to do.
Yeah. You don't look back to realize that you did go
Or
on a
you
journey.
see
to
somebody,
figure it
you
out.
see somebody else operating in stage 4 and go, wow, they're just a natural at that. Not seeing that they had to also.
They
go
had hard
through.
along the way.
Yeah.
It's really good. You're stealing my future points.
sorry.
No, it's perfect. Because it goes forward and backwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
On everything.
So here's a few of my lessons on this. So the first is, one, you need to just acknowledge that there are things that you don't know today. So I feel like that's the first
okay.
lesson we need to take away is don't be that 16-year-old. I'm more and more humbled. I think wisdom in large part is the more you know, the more you know you don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the more humbled you feel. Yeah.
So knowing that you don't know is the beginning of wisdom. That's point number one. Point number two for me is knowing what you don't know sucks, but it's the necessary first step. So whatever the thing is now that you're realizing, oh my gosh, I need to do that, or I need to learn this, or I need to grow that, adopt a growth mindset
Yes.
and understand that everything you've ever learned started with that feeling.
Yeah.
It's always been that feeling.
And I like what
go
you said
through
earlier
life.
too. It's choice, right? Like now that you know that you don't know, is this something that I need to know and I'm going to choose to be better about
Yeah.
it? Because you can't be everything all the time. If it's something that is
Some of-
not, maybe you don't need to know that thing. I don't know. Maybe there's those things that you get to choose that I don't have to learn how to play basketball. Like that's not going to be my thing. So, but this is real estate and I'm choosing to be a professional. So I'm going to go do that.
I say that as you can be anything you want to be, but you can't be everything. Right? And so
I like that. That was
It's
a
all
new
possible.
frame for me today was like the
Some
choice.
of it is aged. Maybe you hear this from agents. Maybe it's a marketing specific thing. There's so many agents that will, hey, I need help with social media or video or whatever. We'll talk through it and they get embarrassed and they go, I know I should know this.
No,
I
it's
know that
okay.
I'm like a 45-year-old professional and I should know. I'm like, what does your age have to do with it? And I think part of it is just marketing must be cool 16-year-olds doing marketing. But like, I think there's an age thing. There's embarrassment that I'm such age and I don't know how to do X. And it's like, well, why would you? When did you ever need to know how to edit in CapCut 10 years ago or 15 years ago?
This
Like,
is the learning journey.
that's part of the acceptance is that you get to learn your whole life. And just because you hit 45 or 50 doesn't mean you know everything now
stopping
and you never
learning.
have to learn anything new. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
So one, there's things you don't know, embrace it. Two, when you find out what you don't know, recognize that that's the first step. And not knowing how to do something is it's a step ahead of being ignorant.
Yes.
Number three, sucking at things is the process. It's how you get the reps in. Like there is no version of learning to drive that doesn't involve probably screwing up at a yield turn.
Yep.
And so, that's it takes 10,000 hours. There's no shortcuts. And with a growth mindset, you approach the learning curve of that with this is what it takes to get better. I'm putting in the reps. And then finally, as lessons go, this is what you were saying, Abby, what you or others are natural at today, it didn't just happen.
Yeah.
So don't assume that other people are just naturally better at something. If they're brilliant at something, it's probably because they put the work in.
They put the work in. Yeah. Don't assume
You
they
just
didn't
didn't
do
see
the
it.
work.
You weren't there for it. Yeah.
And then I have another version of that, which is maybe the inverse of that. It's for you. Like, sometimes we forget what we know. So like as teachers, for example, don't forget that you sometimes take for granted what you know. You need to remember that others don't know what you now know.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of be, you can be blind
frustrated
to other
or
people's ignorance.
Yes.
Like you don't know that. That's okay. There's lots of things I don't know. But we take for granted that people might know the things that we know. So I'm learning that as a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the way I wrap this up, and I kind of want to hear your closing thoughts on this, is maybe the way I'm processing all this is knowledge is power. Because neither of these two things practically change anything for anyone. But I think, like you said maybe earlier on the first point, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're probably right. Step one is like, learn and understand that there are two ways to approach the world in terms of your mindset and observe what yours is. What's my default here?
Yep.
That's not going to change anything today.
Nope.
But it is the
Awareness.
beginning of all learning. And in a way, if you think about that, observing that is an example of going from unconscious incompetence to conscious
I now know that
incompetence.
I am in fixed mindset. That's something I didn't know.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I think knowledge is power on that, learning that difference. And then I think on the other one, again, it's just showing you the learning path. This doesn't like teach you anything, but it teaches you how to maybe be teachable.
Well,
It
just
teaches
be
you how
okay
to
with
learn.
it. Be okay with the work. See the work as the process
Permission,
that you get
maybe?
to go through. Yeah, I mean, and it's supposed doesn't necessarily have to be easy. Like it might be hard.
Sit in the discomfort is what
Yeah.
I would say. The discomfort is a good sign. Brene Brown has a new book out called Strong Ground, and she has a whole section on paradox, and that's her way of talking about cognitive dissonance, is when you have two conflicting ideas or beliefs or thoughts or whatever. When that discomfort starts to happen, that's where your flag
Where
goes
the
up and
growth.
you go, ooh, this is an opportunity. Like, why are these things conflicting? Why does this make me feel uncomfortable? What opportunity is here? And she has a whole bunch of different things. But like, this is where I would say when the discomfort starts, that's where you get to go, hey, this might be an opportunity for me to grow.
An opportunity.
Or
Yes.
to say basketball doesn't need to be my thing. I can choose with a
to
growth
go do that
mindset
thing.
to say no to it, but it's not because I automatically went, I'm going to fail at that.
I'm not good.
It's because I made the choice.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're not still holding out hope for a basketball career, Abby?
Not once have I ever.
No, never. No. Same.
So, I mean, you guys want to wrap this up from your perspectives?
Yeah, I mean, I would
That
say
was my wrap up.
Yeah, no, I would say that like I said, I had a higher number on the test. Now I would not have had that number early in life, and my growth journey here has gotten me to where I am on that scale now. So especially like in personal tapes and things like that, there's a lot of things that I'm for sure working on, but my belief set is that you can have a growth mindset. Whether
You should
you're
surround
there or
yourself
not.
with other people who
Yeah.
have a growth mindset
No,
too,
it
because
totally
you're
helps.
always there's gonna be bad days. There's gonna always be a time where you slip back right into old thinking, or maybe you don't even realize it, and you need maybe somebody else to say, hey,
Like people that know that.
what
These
do you
things, yeah.
why'd you say that? Yeah, what do you think about that? Have
Other
you
than people around you, what do you think helped you climb the ladder of growth mindset?
Right thinking continually. I mean, I think it's like all 8 mindsets that we went through last time. I think when you see those
what you consume?
opposite ends, and you see the things that you are or not doing, and that you can control that, and it is a choice, and you can rewire and reframe. It's work, but at least you know that there's work to be done. So I think it wasn't necessarily just people, it was environment and right thinking and introduction to these ideas. And
it's
things
back to the Avery, the girlfriend story. Now she's been named. It's we were all a product of our upbringings, and I think more people. I think you're very blessed if you grew up in a household that taught you how to have a growth mindset and framed that. I think that's very uncommon. It's not the norm. And so I think that there's a disadvantage to being young. I give my 20-year-old me grace because I'm like, you didn't know how much you were running around in scarcity, and you just assumed that the things you were good at were just because you had natural talent. And there's a compounding impact to being almost 50, my late 40s. I think as you're describing what you were saying there, Angela, I think back to the Avery story, I don't finish books. I don't finish things.
I don't finish things. Yeah.
Well, that's true at this point, and you are what you repeatedly do. But once you finish one thing,
It doesn't have to be.
then number one, you can observe your thinking, change your language, but all of a sudden that's now only partially true, right? So I think years and years and years of being surrounded by good people and working on important things and accomplishing things and changing things. Once you change something about yourself, you realize, wait, it is possible to change something about myself. Or once you climb a mountain, you're like, wait, I can climb mountains.
I can do that.
And I think that compounds is my point. And I think when you get to a certain phase of life chapters, I think you start to realize, wait, there's 50,000 things that I couldn't do that now I can. And I think that's what I'm hoping for out of this. Like, observe your thinking. I promise you, your approach to growth, fixed versus growth, fundamentally is the starting point. It's the key.
I agree.
And then understand that everything you've ever learned has gone through that process, but then also take a breath and know that it gets easier and easier and easier. I mean, once you've read one book, it's kind of easy to read two.
Yep.
And once you've read, and books is just a metaphor, whatever the thing
is for you.
And to become then confident in your ability to climb mountains or conquer the next challenge or change the next thing about yourself that you want to change or improve the next portion of your business, there's a compounding confidence that I think starts to grow, having become someone that does it. And then your tapes naturally change.
Yes, it's like the rewiring is already happening because of all of that, I think. I mean, I was just picturing all of like the rewiring of your synapses in your brain while you were like going through that, what you were just saying. Yeah.
I hope you all believe that you can develop more of a growth mindset. And I hope you all can see that you're all, at least mostly all of you are great drivers.
Maybe.
And that you weren't that before. So whatever's on your plate next, go attack it if you want to. And it'll be like everything else that you're great at today. So good discussion. If you guys haven't yet, grab the handout. I promise it'll help you understand the concept.
It is good. It is a good place to start.
Yeah, love it. So, and thanks to our team for putting that together. It's a fun conversation. Pick it up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Thanks, brah.
Thank you for joining us today. For more episodes, resources, and show notes, head to morethanmorepodcast.com.